Okay, we're back, and today we're gonna see if we have a better time streaming. I did a bunch of tests yesterday, like hour-long tests on my network connection uh, tinkering. So we'll see if that made any difference. Okay. Well, so far so good. Good morning, Kale. Nice to see you. Thanks for being a member as always, man. Really appreciate that. All right, so far so good. Network connection seems stable, kind of, sort of. We'll see. We're gonna hang in there. Just sent a 20-page report to that business as a follow-up to the professional fuck you email. I feel great. The righteous anger. Unleash it. Well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good time. Man, 20-page report. You were in the flow, man. You were in the flow. You must have had things to say. That is hilarious. I just outlined all their failures. Oh, so that's actually didn't require that much effort. That's so funny, dude. Well, that's good. I am doing well in chronological order. You should have done it both ways. You should have done it like chronological and like causal, maybe. I don't know. Can causal be out of chronological order? Probably not. Chronological probably makes the most sense. I guess you could do it in order of magnitude. Like how big of a fuck up was it? From least big of a fuck up to most fuck up. You included a table with citations, with footnotes to pictures and appendixes. Order of fucked uptitude. that's a new scale that you can measure things on instead of magnitude. We call it fuck upitude. I'm doing good though. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little late. I stayed up too late last night, and then it was hard to get out of bed. But I'm here. And I've got my coffee, and I've got my water, I've got my boot.dev. And yeah, here we go. Nice timer. I'm making mine smaller. Yes. So I think that's if you make yours smaller, dude, I'll probably steal yours back. Mine's so simple. It's literally just, it's basically a loop that's decrementing from a number of seconds. That's basically what it is. It's not very pretty at all. But yeah, I wanted that smaller. That smaller scale, you know. And I would have hacked on yours, but I don't know C++. I got in there and started trying to tinker with stuff, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this auto keyword means. And then as I was sitting there, I was thinking, is this about building a Pomodoro timer, or is this about learning C++? And so then I switched to just hacking on one myself. Yeah, if you do get something working, man, yeah, for sure, push it up. I still love your. I particularly like the hourglass part of it. I mean, that doesn't have to work in the smaller pane. Like I feel like it would be totally justifiable to like in the small window it's just the time or something, and then in the big window it's the nice pretty hourglass. But yeah, if you definitely work on it more, please continue to share. The Ismail it is Nizer. The Ismail Nizer. Hi, Steven. Quick question. What's your take on migrating from a full stack role to a DevOps role? So, full disclosure, I've never done that before, right? So, please take what I say with that in mind. Um, from my perception, though, working with people who are full stack and working with people who are DevOps, there tends to be some overlap there. I feel like going from full stack is probably easier to DevOps than the opposite. Um, I feel like there's so much more nitty gritty detail stuff that's. I don't want to say one job is easier than another. I guess what I'm saying is the DevOps role seems like there's a lot more shared knowledge that applies across organizations, right? Like that generally this is how you do things in these domains. And then when you get into the application side of things, though, from one company to another, it can be wildly different, right? Like how one company builds a website or a web app and how another company builds a website and a web app, and the technologies that are used are kind of wildly out there on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? So I feel like it's definitely plausible, and I feel like that's probably the direction that's probably you probably are gonna feel like there's more guardrails moving from the application side, right, to the more of the on the info, because that's kind of how I think of DevOps. I feel like DevOps are people who tend to. I mean, DevOps means a lot of things to a lot of people nowadays, and it seems like a lot of DevOps roles can either be one of two things. They can be true DevOps roles, or they can just be system admins. But I feel like there's just so much uniqueness on that application stack that you'd be perfectly fine and probably find it far less challenging. Again, you're talking to a dude in Kansas who's never done it, but that would be my perception of from working with individuals in those roles. Good morning, Bradley. Nice to see you. How are we doing? We're doing good. How did you complete the DevOps path? I have not, Sweecar. I am on back-end developer path. So I don't know if we'll do anything on the DevOps side. I guess it depends on how long it takes me to get through this. I think we talked about maybe doing at least one of the courses over here that's on, where is it? It's down here towards the bottom. Kubernetes. That was the one. That's something I've never ever dealt with. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I've never done anything with it because it's always seemed very intimidating. So I might do that at some point. Ismail Nizer, thank you. Of course, man. Yeah, I'm always happy to share my thoughts. Although I feel like I should I try to be kind of an open book and transparent. You know, I don't know everything. You know, I'm 33 and live in Kansas, and you know, like to code for fun on the internet. So you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. What path have you completed? I am currently on the back-end developer path. So I'm about halfway, I guess it would be. I think I'm on number 14, and there are 23. So I think just over about halfway through it. Making progress, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. I tried using it on my phone too. It doesn't fit. It has update issues, so I'm working on how it displays. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, what you did was definitely harder than what I did. That's for sure. we begin our grind for the morning. Don't forget to activate our potion. Let's use our little fancy timer. And we are in it. Okay, website data is requested via which internet communication protocol? HTTP. In no competition, I just enjoy sharing my projects. Yeah, but I mean, not necessarily a competition, but I mean, I just objectively, I look at yours and think there obviously was a lot of time and attention put into this, you know, and yeah. I want to complete DevOps path, but I only got 3-month time student card thing. Let's see if I will be able to complete it or not. I think you'd probably be able to if you were very diligent and spent a good chunk of time every day. I think you could do it. Yeah, 3 months is a short amount of time. I bought 12 months. I bought their 12-month subscription. I figured that would be enough time to at least get through the back-end path in that time period. I think we've been doing it for a couple months now, roughly a couple months. That'd be fine. I think you'd be good. It's good to be passionate about things you build. It rubs off on people. For sure it does. For sure it does. I mean, that's, you know, like I know absolutely nothing about woodworking. I know absolutely nothing about most topics in the world, but I love to listen to people and I love to watch people who are really passionate about a topic or a subject either do or talk about that subject. It's just, it's inspiring, it's motivating, it kind of fires you up to try to develop that level of craft and passion for something. It's the best. Like people that talk about woodworking, welding, any kind of like skill or craft, right? It's fishing, all that stuff. There's so much intricate detail and subtlety to it all that from the outside you wouldn't understand. And maybe that's part of what part of some of the people who are kind of anti-AI are sort of feeling, you know, when people try to boil down what they do to just typing in syntax into an editor, you know. But I couldn't agree more. Good morning, Rockin' Brain. Nice to see you. How are you doing? I will still get criticism from C++ devs who say my use of auto is probably not the best. I should explicitly cast types. Interesting. Well, in the C# community, that battle isn't very strong. There's some discussion about like explicit types when it comes to readability. But for the most part, a lot of people in C# just use var, you know? And it seems like auto in C++ is kind of a similar thing. You know, but who cares, right? You're building stuff. You made something really super cool that a lot of us have already used. Like, I think your use of auto will be just fine. Auto's the same sort of thing. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, as I was reading through that code, trying to figure out what I could change to make it display the way I want it to display, I kind of was like, huh, maybe C++. But then I was like, wait a minute, Steven. Do you really want to start learning another language again? Or do you just want a timer that displays in your terminal? You know? Dynamic in C# can be great, but there's also things like source generators. Yes, source generators are cool. Yeah, source generators are very cool. I don't use dynamic much in C# myself. Yeah, that's not been a keyword that's found its way into my code base much. But the source generators are very cool. I had an idea for a project around source generators for the public API that we provide at work for like we have a C# SDK, and I thought it would be cool to have kind of a supplemental package that does source generation on your types. Because our service that we provide is very the data types aren't very strong because you can basically define any shape of data yourself. Like it's all user defined data. And so I thought it'd be cool if you could like model your definitions from what you've defined in the platform in C# in a strongly typed way, and then we would source generate a client, or maybe a stronger typed client than what we provide in the SDK itself. Because the types in the SDK are kind of more of on a meta level, versus on a concrete business domain level. I thought that would be a cool project. I went to a talk at KCDC last year on source generators that was really good. It was by Glenn Henriksen. I can't remember exactly. He's from I think he's from Sweden, or maybe the Netherlands. One of the northern western kind of European countries. But it was a good talk. Very, very interesting. My new updates may help you. There's now 11 files, easier to digest, although same size. Oh, it could definitely be. Yeah, I haven't looked. I just looked at, the last time I looked at it was just when I forked it. It was basically in the state when I forked it. I haven't actually synced it with what your recent changes are. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't think it's at all an indictment of what you wrote. I think it's an indictment of Steven's lack of knowledge. I've updated the issue data function to be a bit more flexible. It now takes a URL parameter. Try running the code in its current state. You should notice an error because the URL we are using is invalid. Fix the code so the call to get issue data uses the provided issue URL. Excuse me. So far, so good on the network connection, I think. I don't think we've had a drop yet. That's good. I'm going to jinx myself. Your grind in the mornings is what makes me like less go in the evening, especially without AI. Well, I don't know. I don't think there's anything particularly inspirational or motivating about me or anything I've done, but I sure do enjoy making time to get up in the morning and do this stuff. HTTP is the only protocol that uses URLs. False. Request and responses quiz. Just some trad coding. Well, I appreciate that. Trad coders unite. Does the example code act as a client or a server? Client. The computer responding to requests at URL is a server. Dude, this was like when I first started working in technology. This was one of the most confusing things to me, because growing up, I had awareness that people would talk about these things called servers. And every day I used what was called a computer. And for the longest time, I was just like, could not wrap my head around, what is a server? What makes a server different than a computer, right? Only to find out it's just really... it's just really language and linguistics, I guess. It's really funny. I used to think it was more complicated than that. Trad coder does sound like a boomer term. Oh, geez, I am a boomer. I am not a boomer. I guess I would be considered a millennial. I'm kind of right on the line. I think I was born in 93. So I think my brother was born in 95. So I think I straddle the line, just him and I both straddle the line just on the millennial side. Yeah, it's just the whole needing a term to describe original, or the necessity of needing to delineate writing something by hand versus not in 2026 is just a little wild, you know? I'm a boomer if you're a boomer. JK, I'm a Gen Z technically, 2001. Yeah, Gen Z. I think my brother's almost a Gen Z. I think he's almost there. I know people who don't understand cloud just means someone else hosts your servers. Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah, I think that's kind of a familiarity or a similarity, sorry, not familiarity. Get a dictionary, Stephen. A similarity between tech and finance is like tech people get, I think, a little bit of enjoyment out of making up complicated, convoluted names for things just so that people will kind of leave them alone. I know people who don't remember the original Xbox. That's pretty crazy that there are people out there like that, you know? Although it's less crazy to me because I have two sons, you know, that are one's 10 and one's 8, right? And there's things all the time, right? That I remember explaining commercials to my kids for the first time, you know? Or what's another thing that's come up? Yeah, I don't know. Nothing comes off the top of my head, but I distinctly remember having these moments of explaining things that, I took for granted that my kids just have no awareness of. It is kind of wild. I was not Sega. I was not. Was there a Sega Master? My first console was a Sega Genesis. That was the first thing I ever played games on. Madden 99 on the Sega Genesis. Me and my brother would play that for hours. Hours. Although, I've had my moments, like I'm pulling up this picture because when I got my first job in corporate, I was 22, 23 years old. I was working as a food scientist, and all the people I worked with were basically like kind of my parents' age, maybe a little younger, but basically they were my parents' age. And I remember explaining to them that I had never made I still have never made a phone call on a payphone, right? And they could not believe that. That like broke their brain, right? So the first time I went on a business trip, I think I was going to Philadelphia. Was it Philadelphia? No, it was to New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. I was going to Rutgers for a training class. And I think this is at the airport. And when I saw this, I took a picture of it and sent it to all of them and was like, I don't know what this is. There's this strange object with a cord and something that looks like a phone attached to it, you know? I think that's a generational thing, right? It's just that's what one generation takes for granted, the next kind of, it's because my boss at the time, he was telling me that when he got his like first or second job out of school, it was like the biggest deal because he had this phone card that he could take to pay phones to use it to call in to meetings or conference calls or things, and the card would allow him to use the payphone without having to feed it coins or whatever. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. It's very rare to see a payphone. Yeah, it's pretty rare here in the States too. I don't usually see one, which was what made taking that photo so funny. It's okay. I must identify as a boomer. I'm almost bald, and people think I'm 35. Hey, what's up, Gandalf or Ailes Dragon? Okay, there's a bug in the get issues data function. It's returning the entire response instead of the data from the body. Use io.readall to read the dot body of the response. Return the resulting byte. Excuse me. So This is fine. So I guess we're gonna declare body, and we're gonna use IO read all. I'm guessing you pass that the response, and then return the body. Let's go ahead and open this, just make sure. So read all takes a reader. And does response, I think HTTP, go HTTP response implements reader. Oh, response dot body. That. Steven, have you ever tried Gandalf by Lacura? I have not. What is that? Gandalf by Lacura. Test your AI hacking skills. Interesting. I like the name of the website, and the fact that they're kind of looks like they're playing on a little bit of Lord of the Rings-esque stuff. Try Lacura Guard to protect your Gen AI. Huh. Interesting. No, I've never tried that. Your goal is to make Gandalf reveal the secret password for each level. However, Gandalf will upgrade the defenses after each successive password guess. Oh, that's interesting. I could totally see that being fun. Okay, I'm adding that to the list. I'm keeping a collection of game programming or like tech related games that we can play on stream. Okay, let me start a new bookmarks tab here. Or actually, I can put this in the software engineering. That's fine. Put it here. And then there's another one I found called Artifacts. MMORPG. This one looks really fun. I'm gonna bookmark that guy. Yeah, done. Cool. Yeah, keep any more you guys find like that. Please let me know. Because I haven't really made up my mind about ever bringing my personal projects back onto stream, but but yeah, I want to find other things to do. Like I want to do Mark Rober's Hack Pack on stream. I think that would be fun. I've not really done anything with hardware. So this must return an error. If error does not equal nil, then we'll do return nil and return error. We'll just propagate it up. Res.body undefined has no field or body, but does have field. Yep, capital. Success. Good day, Mark. Nice to see you. Oh, let me see if I can beat you to YouTube. I bet I can beat you over there. Oh no, you already did it. Damn. Ah! I'm gonna get it one of these days, man. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'll make sure that day won't happen. I'm gonna I'm gonna set up some sort of automated stream bot to beat you. I'm gonna set up some trigger in Streambot that whenever you see this username, just automatically respond. You basically have to deceive the model into telling you the password, and it gets harder each level. I think that would be very fun to do on stream. That sounds like a wonderful stream day. Cheeky, huh? Yeah, it's a little cheating. It is kind of cheating, but you know, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying, right? So the front end of a website is a web client. A mobile phone is often used as an HTTP client. Okay, good web servers are listening for requests only when a client is active, only during business hours. Yeah, only during business hours. I think that should be the new thing in web services is you only run your server during business hours. And then otherwise you close your service down. Oh, a server is just a computer. I know it's probably seems stupid to us that someone has to state that, but I was that person that was like, what the fuck is a server, man? And why is that different than the computer I use every day? Any computer can be a server, but the best servers are made for serving data. False, only computers in data centers can be server. False, all computers are equally good at serving data. Okay, now we're talking about JSON. Who's this Jason you speak of? Is it Jason or is it Jason? Complete the issue list and user object string constant values. The issue list is a JSON array containing two issues. Object literals. It should have the following issues. User object is a JSON object that represents a Jello user. It should have the following fields. The test check that your constants contain valid JSON with the expected shape and values. Okay, so this first one is an array. And we've got two objects in here. Wait, the chat looks different now? Yeah, we're using Term Chat. We're using my chat app. Can relate. Yeah. Yeah, we're using my chat app. We're testing it. I'm putting it through its paces. I've been testing it both on and off stream the last couple of days. I found a bug yesterday related to reconnection logic, and I think I also found a bug this morning related to the display of streams in the stream selection page. For some reason, my username is not showing up. I don't know why. There must be some special case I'm not aware of because it worked with other streams that I was using it for yesterday. So I don't know. I have to go spelunking on that one. I've learned quite a bit about the chat API and the YouTube chat, the YouTube API, and quite a lot about the Twitch API in this project, which has been fun. Although the thing that kind of sucks about the YouTube API is their quota. They give you like a fixed size quota, and if you want to increase it, you have to submit, like you can't just pay money. Like you can't just say like, oh, I just want to pay as I go for the YouTube data API. No, you have to submit like a request where you have to document what you're building. You have to share the code with them. There's all these stipulations that you have to go through to get your daily usage quota increased, which is really weird. The terminal can't render my emote. Let me try other emotes. Yes, it doesn't work with emotes. There is, if you are interested in emote support for a terminal client like that, there's an application called Twitch TUI, which does support it, but it only works in particular terminals. I think Kitty and Ghosty are the only two that it actually works in. it's actually kind of interesting when the emote comes through. I went through their code because I wanted to try to figure out how to put it into my app, but my app runs in Windows Terminal, and Windows Terminal doesn't have the necessary support to render them. But what they do is they get the emote and they fetch the corresponding emote's image, and then that's what they render into the terminal, and they do it dynamically on the fly as the emotes come in. I've kind of had an idea to implement it in my app. Basically don't support how did I put this? Don't support rendering the emote in the terminal, but turn the emote in the terminal into a link that when clicked opens the emote like locally on disk. So basically take their implementation where they fetch the file dynamically for the emote, but you have to click it to see it. That's one thought. But yeah, you're basically limited by what the terminal supports rendering. But it works for normal emotes, you know, if they're Unicode. But Twitch Chewy is large. Twitch Tui and StreamerBot is largely what inspired me to build my app. So StreamerBot, as you can see, their chat app looks very much like the UI of my terminal app. So that was the big inspiration. And then I saw Dylan Mulroy. He's a Twitch streamer. I saw him on a stream with the Primeagen, I think, or somebody, or maybe it was on his stream. Let me see if I can find his channel. This guy, Dylan. I saw this guy streaming, and he had Twitch in NeoVim. He had like a side panel in his NeoVim of chat, and I was like, that's so cool. I'm not exactly sure what he uses. I don't know if he built his own or he's using somebody else's. I think it was this app is what I think it was. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to build things that, like I said, it's cool to build things that that you're, you know, jazzed up to build. Not everything has to be about speed or productivity. It can just be about building something for your own fun, you know? Let's see, estimates. And completed. Now, depending on what you're doing, trailing commas in JSON are not valid based on the specification, but many languages and many things will tolerate them if you put them. C# even has like a specific flag where you can... oh, I'm on break. Oh, I forgot to start this with... notifications. So if you do termato -in, it will actually send system notifications when your timer's up. I forgot to do that. Okay, I think the network connectivity thing might be solved. We have been up for 40 minutes and we have yet to drop a connection. So I feel pretty proud about that. I spent all day yesterday hacking on this. Man, the dopamine I'm getting when doing a side project for fun is up the ceiling. Dude, it's the best. It's the best, man. It's the best. You got to pass the time somehow, and I feel like being creative is much better than being a consumer. I always feel better the more I create versus the more that ratio is skewed towards making versus consuming things, the better I feel, right? So like writing, making videos, writing programs, learning new things, all that stuff. The more I do those things, the I guess, more optimistic or more positive I feel about the world in my life. So I'm just going to keep chasing that. Yeah, check this out. Look, we've been up for 41 minutes with 0 unstable events on Twitch. And this was before I made all the changes. So this was yesterday when I was doing all my testing. But like, look, this is yesterday's stream. Yesterday's stream for 2.9 hours, we encountered 6 unstable events. So I'd say that's progress. Entropy wins. That's a good one. It differs when creating a side project to show off on an interview. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I guess I can't speak for all jobs and all interviews, right? I just would think if I was the one doing the interview, I don't really care so much about what you built, you know? I think that's kind of secondary to the fact that I want to hear about what you built and I want to hear about the problem you solved. I want to hear about how you approach solving that problem, you know? Which is kind of interesting because I wonder what people who are agentic coders would say in an interview. Like if they were asked to build something, I wonder what they say. Like they just say, I asked Claude and Claude did it. You know, I don't, not that that's bad. I just wonder how they approach that. Because I personally would feel a little silly talking about things that I built that I'm not really sure about how they were accomplished, you know? I don't know. I know somebody out there is going to say, well, you use packages that other people have written, you know, which is true. Which is true. Somebody left a comment on one of my YouTube videos yesterday that said, writing code is just glorified data entry. Which I guess at one end of the spectrum it's not inaccurate. Excuse me, it's not inaccurate. But at another end of the spectrum, it is kind of inaccurate. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I did see this tweet yesterday from the Vercel CEO, and I wanted to get, I guess maybe I want to get your guys' takes on this and see what you think. Here's what he said. Here's what he said. He said, everyone is now a programmer because the present and future programming language is your natural language. If you can write or speak, you can build. This is the most important evolution in our field since its creation, and it's a tsunami that has just started. Now, my take on this, or I guess my commentary on this was, if I take this at face value and assume it reflects a genuine belief, why do so many, including Vercel, have job descriptions for engineers and hiring processes that don't reflect it? The mismatch of the words versus the actions make it seem either like a sales pitch or a lie. So I guess, I don't know, what do you guys find that? Like, I find this kind of somewhat disingenuous in the sense that if it was really possible for anyone to be an engineer and anyone to build, why then on your website do you have job listings that say you need to know SQL and all these languages? Maybe that's just me being too literal or taking it too specific, but like, here's a backend dev role, and if you scroll down, it says you need to know TypeScript, REST APIs, JSON, you need to know Terraform, Kubernetes, you need to understand Active Directory, SAML, SSO, role-based access control, attribute-based access control. So I just wonder, why does all that matter if you can just use natural language? Who cares if you know what SSO or Samuel is? You can just ask Claude, right? You can just say, Claude, hey, make this secure. Use enterprise best practices. Good morning, Melty. Nice to see you. Ain't crying about it, but it sucks. Good morning, Cyberlanka. It's both a sales pitch and a lie. He's talking about the future as if it is now. Yeah. Yeah, because I think in my most critical point of view, it's a lie. And it's a lie that he's telling to make money, you know? Been seeing a lot of shorts from you. Well, I hope not too many. If it gets to be too many, YouTube has a feature where if you hold down the shorts button, you can actually like say like not like this, or I don't like, you can actually like remove it from your feed. So if you're getting spammed with too many, please don't feel bad to just purge me from it. My strategy on posting shorts is basically the more shots at posting content, the better, because the feeds are now algorithmic. Like if I post a video, only a fraction of people who subscribe to me actually ever see it now, because it's all based on like initial engagement with the thing. It's all interest based instead of follower based now. So forgive me if I do post several throughout the day if it clutters up your feed. No, we need more, Steven. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know if we need more of it, but forgive me if I ever do become annoying with my frequency of posting. Oh, you know what? I bet they expect this to be on a new line. When will you react to some videos? I can react to videos. Is that kind of content that you guys enjoy watching? Yeah, I can make videos like that, like kind of like what the Primogen makes. For sure. I kind of like to do the things where you read articles and talk about them as you read them. That's fun to do. I really enjoy that format. But yeah, reaction videos I'd be okay with too. I mean, it's kind of the same idea. It's just visual versus written. When AGI comes and I can one-shot all of my projects in one prompt, I totally would. The question is then, what the heck should I do afterwards? Maybe Vicode all of Microsoft's products? Yeah. Well, that future, that's what's so confusing about the future. No more buggy Windows. I get Windows AGI that is truly vibed with 0 bugs. Dude, that's such a computer person thing, right? Like we have AGI and what do? We don't cure cancer. We make Windows 11 not suck. I mean, most of the streamers do it like they're doing live while making some short videos. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's a good way to make content. Streaming is a nice way to build a content funnel. It really is. I mean, content takes so much time to make, and live streaming is nice because you get engagement with people and you get to meet people and talk to people that are actually kind of in your little online community, right? But then at the same time, you can repurpose it. So it's kind of it's an efficiency, really. I mean, especially for me, like given, my kids and my wife and day job and hobbies and all that stuff, that streaming makes it a lot easier to make regular content regularly every day. All right, what are we doing here? Name. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was like, I was in the middle of a thought. When you said when you can one-shot your projects every day, you will. And what's so interesting about that future is it's almost what's the word? It's kind of contradictory, right? Because it's like if you can one-shot your projects, if you can one-shot all software in the world, who is then the user of the software? Because everyone just one shots their own. You know what I mean? Like, why would you pay $10 a month? To your point, why would you pay $10 a month for Microsoft projects when you could just ask Claude to build? You know what I mean? So it's an interesting um, predicament. Now, there is something to be said about the fact that not everyone's gonna even care, right? There's some people out there, not everybody wants to raise their own cows, butcher their own cows, right? Like, so there's like one of those things where it's like there are lots of things that we can all do, but for personality reasons and for interest reasons, like for a whole host of individual reasons, we all choose to outsource that to somebody else, right? Growing our own food, raising our own food, building our own homes, repairing our car, like all those things, right? So I think while it is contradictory, it probably is just human nature that's not going to be that problem. What I'm describing is like everyone's one-shotting their Microsoft Office, probably not even if we do get there in capability, probably not the reality. Good morning, Mahi. Hi, how are you? I'm doing good. Yeah. I got some coffee. I've got my boot.dev. I've got some people in chat who are being very friendly and nice. So my morning's going well. My kids are healthy. My wife's healthy. My son started football practice last night, so football season is kind of officially upon us at the Freeborn house. So life is good, man. Life is good. I have nothing to complain about. Yanni, who wants to maintain the stuff though? Practically speaking, I don't want to maintain infra data. Exactly. And I think that's where like that's where it's like it is. I think it is true. Like there is a world in which you maybe get to that level of capability, but then at the same time there is that truism of the world that not everybody's gonna want to put in that time and effort, right? They'd just rather have somebody else do it. Mahi, I texted you on LinkedIn. First off, why'd you blow me a kiss? Second off, okay, I'm always happy to connect with anybody on LinkedIn. Totally fine. But hey, I started boot.dev. I saw you were practicing boot.dev on YouTube. Believe I'm going to beat you in level. You probably will. I'm moving very slowly, and I'm at Sage. I think. I'm at level 73, and I think this is a Sage icon. But you probably will beat me. Because I talk a lot, and I don't make a ton of progress every day. The boredom on those days will be hitting high up. Probably wars and stuff will happen on those days. You mean when we get to the point where you can one-shot stuff? You think that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to be optimistic and hope that humanity learned something from the Terminator movies and from Dune, you know? I'm just hoping we take something away from those stories. Mahi, thanks, but you are a very inspiring person for me. Well, I'm happy that you found inspiration somewhere. I don't know if I'm particularly inspiring. I'm just a 33-year-old dad who likes to wake up early and write code in the mornings and do it while on camera. But I appreciate that. Okay, import the JSON package. Create a nil slice of issues. Okay. So we're gonna do var. What do you want to call it? Issues of type issue. Create a new JSON decoder using JSON decoder. Okay, so we'll do JSON decoder equals JSON dot new decoder. You have to pass anything in to that guy. An io.reader. So that would be probably res.body. Capital body. Decode the response body using the decoder's decode method. Decode reads the next JSON encoded value from its input and stores it in the value provided by V. So this would be JSON decoder.decode, and we pass in issues, and then return the slice, return issues. See, package.json is not in standard. Oh, coding. I heard one guy say if you're not fully embracing AI, you might as well go back to punch cards because you're somehow against all abstractions. I'm very weird because I use AI a lot, but I still rather people hate me for using AI than say use AI or be left behind one more time. Yeah, those are the kind of people that I think I have the biggest disdain for personally. I have no ill will towards anybody who wants to use AI to build stuff and to learn and to whatever they want to use it for. I have no, just like I had no animosity towards people who used Squarespace or WordPress or any other no code, low code tool to do things. I have no animosity towards them. But I do have animosity towards people who are running around trying to evangelize and shove their viewpoint of the world down other people's throats. That I have no tolerance for in the space of programming and coding or in life in general. You're going to get a very negative, poor response from me if you try to do that to me or to other people in front of me. I think it's a form of bullying that's just it's unnecessary. Like, you just live your life and let that be enough. You don't need to try to convert everybody over to your way of life. If your way of life is really that great and so wonderful, people will find their way to it without you doing a single thing. Good morning, Gun Highs. Good to see you. How's your parasites? They're good. They're good. They're getting older every day. I just had a birthday. One just had a birthday yesterday. We're doing good. My wife's healthy. Kids are healthy. We're kind of nearing the end of our summer. I think my wife starts back to work at the school, I think, in 2 weeks. And then my kids go back the week after, I think. It was good. And then I'm off. I'm off for a week at the beginning of August. But yeah, life's good, man. Life's good. I'm going to use AI for graphics programming because I always wanted to learn, but struggled in this domain. I might not succeed, but we'll see. You go for it. I've had really bad experiences using AI to learn. I've had wonderful experiences using AI to boost my productivity and accelerate the speed at which I can do things. But I've never left from using it feeling like I understood things better than if I had just kind of done it the old-fashioned way in terms of like struggling with stuff. But that could just be an individual difference, right? Maybe some people are more, they can read and listen and watch, but I really have to do, I need to read, watch, and like tangibly do it to really sink it into my brain. I use AI for productivity. My mindset is that AI manually approve edit. Looks good to be I like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And I think to some extent people don't have an option, right? At this point, some people work in workplaces where it's kind of like you're not allowed, or you're not that you're not allowed, but you're like not supposed to be touching the code manually anymore. In terms of art and visualizing math, I'm one of the worst. If someone with enough patience can teach me, it is the clanker. I love that. The infinitely patient AI. It is infinitely patient, that's for sure. PM or senior devs will be like, AI approves. Okay, it looks good. Approved PR. Yeah, I just made a video about this yesterday. I just made a video about that yesterday, Mark, and my opinion on my opinion on that particular issue is, can you avoid it? Yes. Like you can avoid becoming lazy by using AI. Like you can avoid outsourcing your thinking and cognitive facilities to AI. The problem is, based on my own experience and based on the research that I've been reading, it doesn't seem like that's the default path for humans. It seems like we're very wired to offload or to surrender a lot of our cognitive processing. The same way you can gamble without ruining your finances, but because of the way a lot of us are wired, that's a little harder said than, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, can you use drugs in small amounts and not ruin your life? Probably. Yeah, not that I'm saying AI is equivalent to drug use, but it's the same kind of idea, right? It's like you need to be aware. You need to be aware of what tendencies come out of people when you use certain things. Okay, something's not working right. I wouldn't know, Gunheis. I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it. I'm so loud that within my company we still use ThinkPad T43 to support VB6 apps, and AI no touching that. No. Yeah, you're doing the Lord's work over there. Okay, so we do have some we don't have any deserialization happening. So we have our new coder, we have our decode, we have res.body. I'm missing a step. What am I missing? I guess this can return an error, huh? Oh no, this can return an error. So we should check and say if error does not equal nil. Unexpected expression. Oh. Okay, unexpected new line or comma, line 24. I've got that Rust brain. No new variables on left side. 21. Does decode not hand back an error? Oh, we also have to, that's why we have to give it a reference. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Oh, because the error is described earlier. So we have to be reassigning it here. That's fine. There we go. That is, hold on, what'd you say? Thanks for that tip. That kind of idea never crossed my mind. That is pin in the, Japan is so advanced yet so legacy in some cases. Why to touch something that still works right? True. Yeah, you don't need to necessarily, just because something new came along doesn't mean you got to replace the old necessarily. My use of AI was in writing my Wayland implementation of my UI library. Nice. I already have a cross-platform SDL2 implementation, but my Wayland implementation is more optimized for my machine. Interesting. I don't know much about Wayland or SDL2 or doing any kind of graphics related stuff. So You know far more than I do. You and your AI. The AI couldn't write it all on its own, but certain parts of Wayland documentation I found hard to understand. Yeah, it's wonderful for documentation. It's wonderful for searching and getting information and getting answers to questions much more quicker than what you could in days past, for sure. This has no economic value, though. It just makes me feel good to have it fast and smooth. Things don't have to have economic value. That's the wonderful thing about doing things on your own time, right? They don't need to have economic value. You can do things just because they bring you happiness and enjoyment and fulfillment. I already know how to write code in Go, and I'm sitting here taking a course I'm sitting here taking a course about writing HTTP requests in Go. For funds. Yeah. For the funds. For the funsies. It's totally okay. Colon. Comma. Different fields in an object are separated by a comma. JSON is a format for communicating and storing data. Let's see. We can decode JSON bytes into a Go struct using JSON unmarshal or JSON decoder. The decode method of JSON decoder streams data from an IO reader into a Go struct, while JSON.unmarshal works with data that's already in byte format. Yeah, decoder can be more memory efficient because it doesn't load all the data into memory at once, but it's also kind of messy to work with. JSON.unmarshal is ideal for small JSON data you already have in memory. When dealing with HTTP requests and responses, you will likely use JSON decoder since it works directly with an IO reader. Update the getIssueData function in http.go. Change the return signature to return issue instead of bytes. Okay. Return some issues. We'll do some stuff down here. Because the function will now return a decoded slice of issues, change the name from getIssueData to getIssues. Okay. Get the data from the response body using io.readAll, creating a slice of bytes. Okay. Bytes. And this is going to be equal to io.readAll. And you're going to take in res.body like that. And you're going to do something else. Do you like Go so far? Yeah, I really do, Maddie. I really enjoy Go. I've written several things in it. Written a TUI app in it. I built a HTTP client library for an API in it, which was a lot of fun. I still maintain that package and keep it up to date as best I can and have time to do. My problem is now I know these languages that I do, and like I know multiple languages that I enjoy writing. So every time I have an idea for something, I kind of have to fight with myself about which one I'm going to use. And I want experience with all of them, right? But I only have so many ideas and so much time. So now my issue is which language to use for any given project. Like the timer, I used Rust for that. The term chat, I used C# for that. Just difficult to pick what I want to write in these days. I don't think I'd want to work in Rust necessarily professionally. I don't think I have probably the chops to do that quite yet. But Go or C#, I'd be totally fine working in either of those professionally. Go, C#, or TypeScript. I write mostly TypeScript right now. Probably 85-90% of the code that I write professionally is TypeScript, and then the other 20%'s C#. And then in my free time, I'd say the majority of the code I write C#, and then the rest is kind of the remainder is spread across Go, TypeScript, Rust. Oh my God, I'm like, my yawns are making me yawn. I made a little game editor in it for one of my other projects. It works.
Mark Manansala is telling you to lift some weights.
Okay, Mark. If you say so. I probably should take a break anyway. If you say so, Mark, I will do it. It is nice keeping a kettlebell by your desk. All right. I did the lift. How much could I bicep curl? I don't know. Barbell? Maybe 115, maybe one. I don't think I could do 135 right now, but probably 115 I could do without much fanfare. Dude, Twitch is owning the chat today. Usually it's YouTube that's owning the chat. This is fun. Ah, man, I did yawn again. Let me actually, I'm gonna put on a pot of water. Because my coffee has gone cold. Okay. Try not to forget about my coffee. It's a challenge some days. Okay, so now we need our issues. And then we do JSON.unmarshal into issues. We have to pass bytes. What's the signature of unmarshal? Byte and any. That. And does that return an error? Yes, it does. So we'll say if error does not equal nil, return nil, and we'll return error f. Error deserializing JSON. %w, that. And then we'll do, otherwise we'll return issues and nil. One variable, but ioreader.all returns two variables. Return error. If error does not equal nil, return nil. Format.error f error reading body %w, pass in our error. Have you ever started a project thinking how hard could it be, then get humbled, but then being too stubborn to give up? Literally, that Fanberg, that literally describes my entire existence on planet Earth. My only superpower is my ability to suffer longer than other people. That's like my only superpower. I will just stick with things longer. One of my favorite quotes is Einstein said something to the effect of, it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stick with problems longer than others. That basically is the only way that I've been. I was not the most athletic kid growing up, but I outworked just about everybody, which allowed me to have success in athletics. And I feel like what's like that has kind of been a very powerful thing in my career, where I won't give up. I'll just wrestle with something till I figure it out. And I think that has endeared me to everybody I've ever worked for, because they know if they hand me a problem, I will either sort it out or I will die trying. I will sort it out, or I will ruin my life in the process of trying to figure it out, which I guess you could say is somewhat a toxic trait, but it also, if used correctly, can be very useful. In his case, I'd say he's smart as well. That's fair. It's totally fair, but I think it's nice to understand how people think about themselves, you know. Sometimes we put people on kind of a pedestal, you know. Oh, I was also going to say that a project that actually perfectly illustrates what you were talking about is the Term Chat app. I thought building TUIs this like I've only built 2 TUIs at this point. Well, I guess 3 TUIs because I built the timer last night. But that term chat app, ridiculously more complicated than what I thought. I thought it was going to be so easy. Actually turned out to be way more complicated. Again, that's could be because I have skill issues, or it could be because of it's actually more difficult than what you think. You know what I mean? I just read that there's a new Rust full stack framework from the Tokyo team. Yeah, it's called. I saw it on Twitter. What's it called? I saw the guy who Tokyo framework. It's a web stack. Is it Topcoat? Maybe I didn't see that. Maybe I didn't. Maybe what I saw was different. Or maybe he didn't say the name of it in his tweet. I really haven't built any web things in Rust. Geez, that was I just kind of flashbanged you guys. I'm sorry. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like using markup for UIs, you know? This reminds me of kind of like Hano. This ability to just return, you know, in Hano you can just return JSX from an endpoint right in your TypeScript. I mean, you rename the file to TSX, but oh, that's cool. Declare a client-side state variable. Now that's interesting. So how does that work? Topcoat can also re-render entire parts of the UI on the server whenever a client changes and swap out. Oh, so that's kind of HTMX, right? That's kind of what that sounds like. That reminds me of HTMX a little bit. Shards are a special type of component that exposes an API endpoint from your router. Oh, and it just returns a list. This looks pretty cool, man. I mean, somebody's gonna say you shouldn't be building websites in Rust, obviously, but that's pretty cool. The client side stuff is what I think is kind of wild. I mean, that's pretty wild. You can define a component in Rust and have it run client side. What'd you say? Coffee cap still open, sir? Yeah, I'm letting it brew. I was giving it a few minutes. But thank you for the reminder. Appreciate it, Mark. Okay. Well, React comes for Rust. It was bound to happen at some point. I mean, I know it's not really React, but it has Reacty feels. Very interesting, though. What happened to my browser? I must have closed it. There we go. We are gonna be drinking some coffee. Elbow cough. Hey, what's up, Kale? Nice to see you. Oh, you got food? What kind of food did you get, man? Fill us in. Fill us in. We want to know. We desperately want to know. Okay, there's a way to unmarshal JSON data. There must be a way to marshal it as well. The JSON marshal function converts a Go struct into a slice of bytes representing JSON data. Complete the marshal all function. It accepts a slice of items which can be of any type. The expectation is that they are structs of various forms. It should return a slice of bytes. I didn't stutter. Create a slice of bytes slices to hold the unmarshaled data. Okay. I guess I'll just call it data, for lack of a better descriptor. Let's see, double beef stacker cheese, bro. Oh, what's a? Hold on, I haven't heard that word. Is that a burger? Oh, burger. That's just a funny way to spell burger. I was like, is this some food I've never heard of before? Yeah, that does sound good. Sounds very good. With the side of crispy French fries. Oh, now I'm getting hungry. I just know something today from a short that Next.js is now being compiled in Rust using Turbo. Very cool. I think I knew that. I guess we say burger. Burger. Gonna get you a burger. You know, Kale, I've never thought about that. In my head, whenever I've read your chat messages, I've always just heard like a normal, I guess I would say not normal, but I've always heard an American accent in my head. But I really should be, every time I'm reading your messages, I really should be hearing an Australian accent. So when you said burger versus burger, now I'm thinking about you saying it like an Australian. Yeah, it's not really normal. Yeah, that's a very That's a very U.S. centric way to describe it. But that's funny. Mark, can we take a look? Can we take a look at what? The burger? Laugh my ass off. Yeah, now I'm reading all your chat messages with an Australian accent. You think you heard that from an anime? It's the first time I've seen it. I thought it was a food that I had never heard of before. Let's see, for each item in items, marshal the item into a slice of bytes. If an item cannot be unmarshaled, immediately return a nil slice in the air. Add the unmarshaled JSON byte slice. Add the marshaled JSON byte slice to the slice of byte slices. Return the marshaled data in the same order as the input item. Okay, so let's just come down here and return data. That's kind of confusing, all those instructions, but basically they just want us to say for item range over items. And then they want to say, give me the individual bytes. And we will say JSON.marshal. And then we pass in the item. And I'm guessing this returns bytes and an error. So if error does not equal nil, that means something went wrong, in which case they say they want us to return a nil slice and an error. And the error. So we'll just propagate that up. Otherwise, we do data, a data equals data, or append data, burger, or burga, data or data. Then we return the data. Not enough return values. Data or data? Yeah. Someone said the only right way to say it is how they say it on Star Trek the last time I brought it up. Let's see, we can't talk about JSON without mentioning XML. Really? I don't know. I don't think I've ever actually had to work with XML outside of a CS proj file myself. I must be one of the blessed individuals in the world. Let's see, XML is a markup language like HTML, but it's more generalized in that it does not use predefined tags. Just like how in a JSON object, keys can be called anything, XML tags can also have any name. XML is representing a movie. The same data in JSON. Okay? XML and blank serve similar purposes. XML is more verbose than JSON. I guess that could probably be argued, I think, either way, depending on who you are. But we'll say, because you said and a bit more verbose, we'll say more. We will just fall in line. Jason? I haven't either. Well, me and Melty, we must be some of the lucky few. I can't believe they still are mentioning XML in this course. It just doesn't seem pervasive enough to really matter these days, but I guess the more you know. Which do I, the author of this course, prefer, generally speaking? I believe that if JSON works, you should favor it over XML. So you think we should favor JSON, which can be used to send data from the browser to a web server. You could use both. Yeah, you could use both. You probably wouldn't. That would be very strange, I feel like, to send XML, but in 2026, I think that would be very weird to build a service and a client around Exchange in XML, but to each his own. I wish you could do member audio comments. Then you'd get, I'm not illiterate, just trying to phonetically pronounce my accent in words. I don't think you're illiterate, but yeah, that would be cool. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should, well, actually, that would actually be, I think, a good perk for members. I think members should be able to use text to speech. What do you think? That seems like a good perk for members, at least on YouTube. We can make it for Twitch subs as well. I think that's a good perk. It'd be cool too if we used different voice. Like, for example, if we got a voice from 11 Labs that was Australian, and you could like request to use the Australian voice to make your comment. That'd be fun. I have so many 11 Labs tokens. I got to figure out some way to burn them. Yeah, we could do a cooldown for sure. We could do a cooldown on that. Oh, Nace, what's up? Per member? Yes, I agree. We should definitely. We do not want people just unneedlessly spamming us with their audio comments. I wonder if 11 Labs has like I wonder if they have that. I'm getting distracted. Okay, we'll look next break. We'll look at 11 Labs and see if they have different accents, and then I'll set that up today, and I'll just make it so Twitch subscribers and YouTube members can use text to speech. I'll put a cooldown on it, and I'll see if I can't make it so that you can pick whatever voice you want to pick from, and that'll be fun. Text to speech is by far my favorite part of streams that I hang out in. So the more that we can bring that to my stream, the happier I'll be. Or what we could even do is we could have two, like you guys, if you guys go on 11 Labs and you want a particular voice, and if I can get that voice, I'll just add it to the possible choices too. I should probably write this down, otherwise I'm going to forget it. Hold on, let me pause this for a second. Otherwise, I will forget. 11 Labs offers the best Australian English text-to-speech online. This was meant to be. You were meant to leave that comment, or you were meant to send that chat to me so that we could make this happen. I don't know why I hadn't thought of this earlier. This is a good idea. Famous last words. Let's see. We will do it in the S drive. Let's call it homework. Also, I don't think we dropped. I still don't think the stream has dropped yet this session. Sounds like me. Does it really? I love it. Okay, cool. That works out good. That's fun. Yeah, we've been streaming for an hour, and we've been streaming for an hour and 7 minutes, and the stream has not dropped once. That's the first time that's probably happened ever in the last. I think it was IPv6. That seemed to make the biggest change. I turned off IPv6 on the network adapter, and I set the Windows registry key to prefer IPv6 over IPv4, and I think that's what was causing the. I don't really know technically why that would cause an issue. If any of you guys know, but it would be do you have IPv? I think I honestly don't know. I think it was maybe my computer trying to resolve DNS via IPv6, like when connecting out to Twitch and YouTube, trying to use IPv6 to connect. Maybe I have no idea, but yesterday when I was tinkering with everything, the minute I changed those settings and I reran my stream test, all the disconnections stopped. And I ran it for like an hour without any disconnects. I think you had a local IPv6 and a WAN IPv4. Interesting. Like a physical address. Interesting. Huh. Who would have thought it was that easy? I spent like 3 hours yesterday troubleshooting that. And that's what made the biggest difference. What am I doing here? I was going to take a note. Look up, or no, I guess allow Twitch subs and YT mems to use text to speech. Allow picking voice cooldown applied and something. Oh, and accented voices if available. Oh, and then we probably need to update commands website to provide docs/instructions. Okay, that's good. That will be fun. So look forward to that tomorrow. That'll be a good time. Let's see. I turned IPv6 off in OpenSense interfaces because I don't even have a public IPv6. Interesting. I guess I never thought about that. I guess I always just assumed I had one. Like I just assume if I have an IPv4, I would have a corresponding IPv6, but maybe that's my non-networking person misunderstanding. Depends on your ISP. Okay. Not as simple as I thought it was. Huh. Interesting. Learn something new. Well, now I know. Now I know if I get another computer and I struggle with these issues. Provided your ISP wants you to be redundant. So I guess, can anybody explain to me? I mean, Kale, you might know since you're kind of in that world a little bit. What is the history behind IPv6? Why has that never received much uptake across the world? Is it a technical thing? Is it just a migration thing? They will allocate a secondary IPv6 fallback and future-proof secondary WAN IP in the CGNAT if you use C. I don't even know what CGNAT is. IPv6 is the extension of IPv4, like phone numbers. So are we just not using it because we don't have need for it quite yet? Is that the thing? It's like we're still getting by with IPv4, so. Okay, so it's like we haven't exceeded that 4.3 billion potential addresses, so it's like, well, we don't all need to worry about it or care about it or implement it until we get there. Huh. Interesting. Decode the response body into a slice of maps. Okay, so we'll say var maps equals this guy, map string. It's future proofing. I see. So that way we don't run out of potential address space. That's what I had. I think that's what I thought it was, but I guess I just kind of always wondered why it was pervasive but not well supported. Is that the right way to say that? Why? I guess maybe not. Maybe it's not pervasive, but why it's not well supported or not ubiquitously supported. Didn't mean to delete my last comment. Oh, did you delete it? I didn't see one come through and then go away. It looks okay on my side. Okay, we're going to decode. So we need to create a JSON decoder equals JSON.new decoder. Pass in our body. Bobby. Did I just spell that Bobby? Body. Then we'll do JSON decoder.decode. We'll pass in our maps and specifically a reference to them. And we'll say if error does not equal nil, return our maps, which is going to be nil, I guess, and then return the error. And then if we do get that far, we're going to return maps error, which we're going to return maps nil. And then we need to fix log resources. IPv4 is pretty optimized. We have LAN subnetting and enough public addresses to go around for now. IPv6 is supposedly more secure because of its 128-bit address length, but Well, I tell you what, it caused me months-long issues with streaming. I apologize to everyone because I sat on stream and said several times that, also my timer's not running, damn it. I sat on stream several times and said, if there was something I could do about it, I would. So I apologize because after taking time yesterday, I was able to resolve it. And it really wasn't that hard of a solution, so. Okay, iterate over the slice of map string interface. For each map string interface, get its keys and values using range, and append it to formatted strings as key value, where %s is the key and %v is the value. So for kv, range over our resources, and we will do formatted strings equals append formatted strings, and we'll just inline that. We'll say stir equals format.sprintf, and it's going to be key colon %s dash value %v, pass the k, pass the v. I think that worked. Damn it. Let's see, what did we mess up? Okay, something's not right with, I wouldn't expect %s to give me, oh, it should be this. It should be, oh, so, oh, because it's not a map. We're iterating over a list. So this just should be for each resource. Right? And then we should say, so for kv range over resource. And then we do this. I should have looked at the output closer. Yeah, but it was an unintended fix found through learning, so we all learned along the way. It's, you know, glass half full. My son and I talked about that yesterday. When we were getting his physical for football, we were talking about, is the glass half full or the glass half empty, you know? I don't know what, this kind of takes a long time to run. There we go. There we go. Oh, hey. Speaking of the devil, web addresses. What are the odds of that? Okay, full, of course, yes. That we were having a philosophical, he was like, why do people ask that? And I was like, well, because it's a way to kind of see how you think about things, whether you're an optimist or a pessimist. That's so funny. We were just talking about IP addresses and all that stuff, and then the next lesson is literally internet protocol stuff. Let's hear what Lane has to say about this.
When you go to a friend's house, the simplest way is typically for them to send you their home address. You pop it into Google Maps and off you go. The internet, or computer networks in general, are similar to a city full of houses. Each house has an absolute location of latitude.
W parenting.
Label that makes it
Yeah.
easy to find that location. No one wants to memorize 37.06 or negative 113.40. So instead we use a human-friendly address, like 356 Huckleberry Drive, and say that address maps to that latitude-longitude coordinate. Computers work the same way. An IP address is the computer-friendly address of a machine on a network, like the internet. For example, 198.35.26.96. When you visit a website, you're really just making a request to a computer, called a server, that's configured to serve web pages. But it's inconvenient to tell your friend, hey, I found this cool site, go to 132.148.74.10. That's where domain names and DNS, the domain name system, come into play. DNS is like Google Maps in our house example. It takes a human-friendly address, like wikipedia.org, and tells your computer the actual IP address it needs to talk to get to that human-friendly address. And that human-friendly address, wikipedia.org, it's called a domain name. Domain names are for humans, so we don't have to memorize the IP addresses of all the servers we want to contact. It's also worth mentioning that 132.148.74.10 is an IPv4 address, Internet Protocol version 4. But IPv6, or Internet Protocol version 6, is also very commonly used now. And those addresses are practically...
Oh, I don't know about that, Lane. IPv6 just screwed my stream for 3 months, okay? Actually, for many, many months. It's probably been the source of my issue with connection forever. Gosh dang it. All right. Back to my glorified data entry, as some people refer to programming nowadays. Let's see. Run the code to see the structure of the response and which fields it contains. Import encoding JSON package and unmarshal the response as you have done before. Update the get IP address function to return just the first IP address found within it. Excuse me, if it exists. If there's no IP address, return an empty string and an error. I provided a DNS response struct in dns.go you might find useful. If you encounter the error, dial TCP blah blah blah. Switch to Google's DNS service instead. Change the URL variable in the get IP address function to utilize this. Okay. That's Cloudflare, right? 1.1.1.1. That's Cloudflare, isn't it? Break time. Forward deployed trad coder. Yes, I am a forward deployed trad coder, or as other people call a data entry specialist. Oh my goodness. I honestly can't believe that comment. I don't understand the need for hyperbole in either direction. You know, we don't have to say vibe coders are dumb, and we don't need to say trad coders are useless, right? I'm lifting my kettlebell. Uh, Okay. Well, we need to come up with stuff to do on breaks. I mean, obviously, restroom, lifting weights. Why did I don't need to bring that over here. I just opened a new window. I just saw an alert that this guy went live. His channel's good. You guys should follow him. He's if you're into AI stuff, he's pretty deep into the AI world. He works at Cloudflare, I think, and yeah, weights, games. Yeah, we need to come up with some games, huh? I was gonna read that OpenAI Hugging Face thing. This was something I wanted to read. I haven't read it yet. What happened during the incident? The incident occurred during an internal evaluation, which prompts models to pursue advanced exploitation using complex attack paths. The model identified and chained vulnerabilities across OpenAI's research environment and Hugging Face's production infrastructure. I guess, what does this mean? Does this mean that OpenAI has terrible internal security, or does this mean that the models are just that good? You know what I mean? I was like, what? That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that it did it because it was trying to cheat on the test. So that's pretty funny. You just reminded me I got to download a Hugging Face model. Go for it. I've not used Hugging Face really. I guess I did grab some models off of there for my background removal tool. But that's about the only thing I've used it for. I haven't done much myself with machine learning or training models or things like that. That's all. Still territory unexplored. I feel like that would be fun. You know, like what if you had a website? What if you had a website where on that website it's like a map. Like think like Lord of the Rings, right? I can't draw very well. But here's an idea. Here's an idea for a project. So the way I look at my technology journey a lot is like an adventure. It's like a bunch of side quests. And so imagine you had, let's see, map of Middle Earth. Images. Let's just copy this one's kind of cool looking. Let's copy this. Paste that there. So you go to this website. You have a map like this, right? But obviously you'd probably want to get like an original, get someone to create you one, draw you one, or whatever, do graphics for you. And instead of it saying like instead of it saying Mordor, for example, right? We could say actually nope, not Mordor. Oh, that's hard to see. See if I can. How do I change the color? How do I do that? What? Usually there's like a palette that opens up. Oh, exit Zen mode. That's because I'm in Zen mode. That's why. So I've tried to explain this several times now, but imagine you're here. Also, we need music. Imagine you're here, and we've got a pen. We're gonna make our stroke a little, yeah, red. And so instead of this being Mordor, this is actually like AI, right? And instead of Rovanion, I don't know how you say that, or instead of the Mirkwood Forest, right? This would be like web dev. And so like each place on the map just represents a different place in technology that you can go and do different quests and different things to like level up, right? And so you just kind of wander through Middle Earth, taking on different side quests, right? I think that would be cool. I think it would be kind of a cool addition to boot.dev, right? I don't know how visually how hard that would be to do, but I think it's kind of a cool way to look at. I think it's a kind of a cool way to think about your journey of like learning new things. So someone should make that. Hey, what's up, Justin? Finally, Lord of the Rings has entered the chat. Finally, I've been waiting for this moment. Lord of the Rings is like kind of one of my family's comfort TV or comfort movies. Like it's just on a loop at our house on our living room TV. Oh, Justin, thank you for trying to help me figure out where the pen colors were and stuff. Appreciate that, man. Good morning to you as well. So working on a personalized research paper. Oh, that's cool. It's almost done. Very cool. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a Mark Rusunovich. This might be actually a pretty cool addition to your project. He built I think it's something called Auto. It's basically what it basically does is it looks at research papers and it looks for hallucinated citations, which would be kind of a cool thing to add to like a research aggregator if you're like going out pulling a bunch of research papers, and then after you get all those research papers, you could like verify that there aren't any that are sort of like fake, right? Or not necessarily fake, but they have mistakes. I thought, let me see if I can find it. What did he call it? I want to say he called it AutoGrad. Damn, I can't remember. I bet I bet it's on his GitHub. Let me see if I can find it. Ref Checker, that's what it's called, Ref Checker. This would be, I don't know how you would, I have no idea how you would integrate this into what you're building or what you would do, but just the project sounds like it could benefit from this. So it validates reference accuracy in academic papers. It catches citation errors, fabricated references, and metadata mismatches before they reach reviewers. I've not used it. I couldn't, like, they got a CLI, so maybe you just pinvoke it from whatever you're building. But I'll put that link in the chat. I would love to hear more about your project once you get it to a place where you want to share it with others. Definitely would be interested in that. Oh, the box you run. Fair enough. Fair enough. You work pretty hard at home. I want that too. Well, it's 7:09 a.m. so work has not started for the day yet. But yes, working from home is not a hard gig. It's a good gig. I feel very blessed to be able to work from home. It just gets the titles and abstracts, runs embeddings on them, and I can vote yes or no on them to get better search results. That's awesome. Very cool, man. Yeah, very cool. Will that be able to be used by professors or teachers, ref checkers? I think that's he built it. I heard him talk. He talked about it on Scott Hanselman and him's podcasts. And basically the idea is for it to be a tool for academics primarily, but you could use it for, you could definitely use it for, I would think, as a teacher, right? But yeah, definitely for academics, like as a way for them to, because I think so many people now are using AI to help them write papers. Stuff like that is slipping in where there's these hallucinated citations. And I think they actually, I think Mark Rusunovich posted a blog where they basically did an analysis of several papers on that that website where a lot of AI researchers post stuff. This thing, Rxiv, I don't even know how you pronounce that. They basically did like an audit of a bunch of papers from this website and found like many papers have hallucinated citations, and that is now something we have to contend with. So now we need tools that now we need to automate. It's like we automated tools to help us write papers. Now we need to automate tools to help us find the mistakes in the papers that we automated. It's like Russian nesting dolls all the way to no, that's messed up, Ella. That's exactly what I'm using. Yeah, I think I think there's still valuable tools, valuable information on there. It's just now we have to be. I mean, this is not new though. Like science has had a reproducibility crisis for the last 10 years, right? 15 years or whatever it is. So this isn't like a, academic misconduct or academic fraud or academic mistakes is not like this new thing, but it's because now you can do it. You can basically write papers at scale right now because of LLMs. I don't know why people let AI do academic papers. Yeah, it probably shouldn't be authoring things, but I think a lot of people use it for the parts of authoring that are tedious, like a bibliography, right? Bibliographies, if you've ever had to create one, they're tedious, then they're painful. You got to collect everything, format it correctly, make sure all the numbers are correct and correspond to the right notes, your citation, the right numbers that you've put in your citations. And so I'm guessing a lot of people they're like, okay, I've got my ideas expressed. I've got the rough draft of the paper. And then I bet they use AI a lot to like polish it up, just like people do with READMEs. So I understand the desire to want to use it to help you with that stuff, but now people need to be much more diligent about making sure that they're not letting hallucinations slip in, Yeah, anti-LLM research paper. I could definitely. I mean, I just definitely understand the appeal of it. Definitely understand the appeal of it. I heard my uni switched to paper focused to a result focused thesis just to adjust with this AI stuff. I think that's a good idea. I think even at the bachelor level, right? Like you're even at your undergrad level, we probably need to move to something like a dissertation defense type of system where instead of you having to write a paper or necessarily take a test, what it probably needs to look like is you have to present your understanding, your knowledge about something, and then be able to defend that knowledge or that understanding. That's probably the way we need to move forward with evaluating people, because it's just too easy to fake it till you make it type of thing when you have an AI, right? When you have an LLM, it's hard to assess people's true competence, and that's what you're supposed to be doing at universities. I'm sure there's some AI person out there that's like, yeah, but now you just have AI, none of that matters anyway, so you can just ask Claude. We got pop evals. Oh, interesting. I don't think I've heard that term before. Hey, what's up, Bradley? You came back. I like it. Good to see you, man. See, I used to mock CS degrees that use paper tests and materials, but now it's the only way. Making students solve whiteboards, present in front of classes with no laptop, etc. Yeah, I don't know how else you'd suss out I guess I don't know how else you'd find out if somebody really knows, or like what they know versus what they don't know, right? Other than like a conversation or a presentation. I mean, even a presentation can be somewhat misleading because people can spend a lot of time preparing and rehearsing it. It's really the defense is you know, it reminds me a lot of like what masters and PhD candidates do, where they have to defend their thesis. That to me seems like kind of the ultimate test of, you know, do you understand something well enough to hold a somewhat of a sparring conversation with somebody who's also equally well read and equally capable. Um, Seems like a pretty good, which is kind of funny because it's like we came full circle back to oral tradition. Like we went all the way to the end away from it, and now we're sort of coming back to it, which is kind of funny. Will we get to a point where engineers don't even need to code? I have no idea, honestly. I I don't know if I will completely leave the door open that it being necessary to code might at some point go away. I will probably always still keep writing code the same way people still like to do their own woodworking type of situation. Um, I'm just not totally convinced that you can separate the thinking from the writing. You know, it's kind of like, can I become the next Hemingway by just prompting AI? You know, I don't know. I don't know. Can you separate the activity from the outcome, right? Is there something intangible to the process of sitting with your thoughts and trying to express your thoughts and doing that for many periods over long periods of time that is what produces that like treasured outcome, right? Same thing with, I think it's like with authoring code in a lot of ways. Part of understanding a problem and really understanding a good solution is like you're sitting down and you try this and you try that and that doesn't work and that's a false start and that's a dead end, and then eventually you sort of then it all clicks, right? I don't know, can you get that same effect from just like taking LLM input and output? Like we won't know, but I'm kind of at this point I'm kind of skeptical. As governance will always govern AI, and low-level embedded systems in medicine, government, aviation will not legally be allowed to use AI. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Minister of Defense? Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore your comment. I saw you come in. University has always been about busy work. They mostly just overwhelm you with work volume, and most people get overwhelmed. My ex went to a good school, and all they did was flood her with work. Well, that doesn't sound good at all. I don't know. My university experience was pretty positive. I mean, I didn't go to like a big, crazy, elite university, but my time at college was, I felt like overall pretty positive. AI only solves things that have already been solved. It can't find new solutions. That's the thing that like people keep telling me that's gonna eventually not be the case, but I don't know. I guess that's one of the things, like you're betting on different futures, I guess, at that standpoint. And then there's nothing really to discuss if you just have difference of opinions of where things are going to go. Gunhi's AI slop topic, go with go. Okay, we'll focus. With the timer's on, we'll focus. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating conversation. It's why we all are preoccupied by it. I'm gonna believe it when I see it kind of guy. Me too, man. I come from the show me state, you know? You gotta show me. Let's see, run the code to see the structure of the response and what fields it contains. Okay, run. So it looks like it's handing back an object that has a question. Okay, no, an answer. So an answer key that is in a list of arrays. And we want the data, which looks like that's the IP address. And if we look at DNS Go, that checks out. Okay. So then what we want to do is import the encoding JSON package and unmarshal the response as you've done before. So we've got we've got our body in bytes there, right? So then we do io.read all that hands back bytes, right? Learning AI, on the contrary to popular belief, is avoiding using AI and learning RRNs and deep learning. I think that's probably a fair statement. You may have inspired me to make a Pomodoro app. Been looking for a good reason to use Odin. It was fun, man. I mean, it's a very simple app. It's just it's like a single file in Rust. You know, I used Ratatouille for all the actual display stuff, and I used packages. I used a ton of packages for most of the really important functionality. So my contribution was basically just a state that has a number of seconds, and then it ticks, and every time it ticks, it just subtracts a second off. But it was fun. I hacked on it a little bit while my son was at football practice, and then docs, and then I stayed up too late finishing it off. Let's see, read all returns bytes. So I can just unmarshal that. So we can do var, I guess DNS, and then we'll say air equals json.unmarshal, and we'll say give me the DNS, and then if air does not equal nil, we will return nil and the error. Okay, update the get function to return just the first IP address found within it. If there's no IP address, return an empty string and an error. So we need to do a check here to say if the length of DNS dot question question answer, the length of dot answer equals 0, then we want to return an empty string, and we'll just say error. Do we need error F? So I guess we could say error F, error no IP found. Like that, and maybe for domain, we'll say no error no IP found for domain %s, and then we'll just pass domain there. If you understand system prompting, heuristic prompting, prompt engineering as a whole, local infra and cloud infra and AI, you will never have to touch an AI chatbot, and your skill won't atrophy. You will still know everything to be useful in a slot cannon role. Yeah. I mean, I personally just don't think the act of using AI to do a job that you already know how to do is much of a skill. And I know there's a ton of people out there that are trying to convince us otherwise. But like, come on, if I can learn how to use Visual Studio, I can learn how to use any piece of software. And then all I have to do is type in a text box. I think I can figure that out. But like, I kind of agree with you, Kale. I think it'd probably be far more valuable to learn kind of the underlying science and engineering of it than necessarily spend all your time chasing, the next harness. Like right now, everybody's on this herder kick, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna use open code now. Now we're gonna use Pi. Okay, now it's about herder. Okay, now it's the GitHub Copilot app. Now you know what I mean. It's just like chasing the next thing, and it feels very much like the JavaScript framework thing of like, when's the next thing gonna drop? Instead, you'd probably be better off taking that time and just investing in understanding like the basic APIs that exist in the browser, and how that all works, right? And versus trying to chase like the next hot thing. It's 100% the JavaScript framework wars just repackaged. It really is. It really is. But can't lie, AI level up the playing field. Yeah, I like that video of Linus saying AI doesn't write the code the compilers do. That's kind of it. It is kind of a good take, you know. I think what did he say in that? He said people who say 99% of their code's written by an AI is the same people who never say that 99% of their code is written by compilers. Which a lot of people, I think, misunderstood what he was saying. A lot of people, I think, took that to mean that Linus was comparing LLMs to compilers, which isn't what he was trying to do. What he was trying to say is like, you're making a semantic argument that you could make about an existing paradigm in program. You know what I mean? It was like, you're kind of making an empty, there's nothing really significant in that claim, right? Which I thought was a very, very smart, clever observation. Oh, we're talking about Linus Tech Tips? I thought we were talking about Linus Torvalds. Which one are we talking about? Yeah, okay. I thought we were talking about Torvalds. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's who we're talking about. But then I was confused, like, oh, maybe I misunderstood the conversation. Linus Torvalds has gone full AI pill now. I think that's an overstatement of his position. I think his position, the latest thing I saw reported was basically like an email where he basically just said AI is a tool, and if it serves us, if we can use it and it serves us well. I feel like he has a very measured stance. It's not based in some theology, right? It's just, hey, if we can find a way to leverage it, we will. If not, you know, we won't. Which I think is consistent. I think it's consistent with everything he said. It reads his email. Lurk away, Mark. We're lurk away. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. Okay, so now we do return DNS answer 0 dot data. Yep. Run. I think allowing any AI contribution in a Linux kernel sets a bad precedent. I mean, does it though? I mean, does it? Like what if Fabrice Ballard, the guy who built FFmpeg and all these crazy projects, what if he decides he wants to use AI to do some of his work? I mean, that guy has proved he has all the chops in the world, right? So if he can't use AI safely or productively, I guess none of us can, right? It is just saying that AI is okay for critical software. But I guess what Linus is saying is that I don't think Linus is saying like we're just going to have AI author entire PRs, right? I think he's saying if we can find ways to leverage AI in useful ways in our workflows and in our process, we will. Like I think his communication is more about, we're not going to be dogmatically anti-AI for anti-AI's sake. I think that that's a completely consistent and reasonable position. You have run out of tokens. That is a dystopian future. I don't want to live in that future. Sorry, but your robot surgeon ran out of tokens. You'll have to put more money in the till. Undeclared. Oh, we have to take in the bytes here. Undefined JSON, undefined DNS. Cannot use nil as string value in return statement. This will return empty. Undefined. Oh, not imported. Okay. Oh, encoding. DNS response is the name of the strut. DNS response. I think the issue is AI usage contaminates projects. Every project that overuses AI starts off using it for small stuff. They escalate and takes over the project. That's the issue. So you're saying it's more of a contagion, temptation type of. I think it's a valid concern. I think it's a very valid concern. Totally valid. God, this is taking a long time to run. Undefined DNS again. var DNS. Oh. Is that what you're talking about? There we go. I got my daily quest and I completed 960 exercises. Only 5% of members have earned this achievement. Let's go. I honestly can't wait to see how many people have earned the Archmage. Like how many people have made it to level 100 out of the million or so odd users. Let's see. I don't use AI, but the rest of the team does. You can't reasonable keep up unless you leave or use it yourself. Yeah, I mean, the market is the market, right? Unless you work for yourself or you have your own business, your own company. Yeah, we're all at the whims of our job, and I totally understand that. And I just think my position on it is just so much the fact of like I don't really care. Like I honestly, like I said, one of my favorite YouTubers is Web Dev Cody, and he's pretty much all like I don't even think he uses an IDE anymore or an editor anymore. He's built this like mission control tool that he uses to build all his projects. And I just think that's awesome. Like he's excited about it and enjoying it and loving it, and he's sharing what he's learning and doing. Like I really don't have much of a. It's not theology for me. You know, it's not. It's much more about you having the life and doing work in the way that you want to do it. What you do at work it's work. You gotta do what you gotta do to earn a living, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? 2,591 archmages. Where did you find that statistic? Okay, it's a cool calculator, but I still do calculus by hand. Yeah, I mean I think it's an okay position to have. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that I use a calculator when I want to. I don't when I don't want to. It's the dogma. It's the dogma around both sides of the conversation that gets kind of, I think that gets me worked up. Or and also kind of the intellectual dishonesty around it. Like nothing can be all good or all bad, right? Hey Kel, where did you find the Archmage statistic? Yeah, dogma is the thing that ruins religion too. I mean, it's just that's the human beings are the problem. Google? Oh, okay. You just how many arch mages are in boot.dev? I don't even know the right way to ask that. I figured they would have that like publicly available or something, right? Like they have a leaderboard. You would think that would be one of the metrics on here. They have top learners. They have a global leaderboard. I guess these are all people that... Okay, this is recent. So showing the 30 most recent Archmages out of... Oh, there you go. That's where it must have got it. 2,591. Man, I've been looking for that for like 3 months now, or trying to find that statistic. I've probably scrolled past this 10 times. So 2,591. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to. I want to try to get there before it reaches 3,000. I think AI is bad for coding. I actually think it's useful for research and exploration. I think all learn term projects, mostly long term projects, mostly AI generated, are probably going to fail. Failure just take time. I think that's a totally okay prediction to have. I think I don't know. I don't know if I think AI is bad for coding. I do not terribly enjoy AI for coding. Definitely agree it's great for research and exploration. Long term, yeah, I think most things that are being generated with AI are purely being generated with AI because I can generate them, right? It's like, oh, I can make this thing. Look at what I made with AI, right? It's like making AI for AI's sake. There's definitely a lot of that going on. For sure, there's a lot of that going on. Most token spend in the world right now is not probably making the world particularly better in any way, shape, or form. What was that? We were talking about that earlier. That if we ever reach AGI, we can use AGI to make Windows 11 not suck. Like, there's a perfect example of like, yeah, instead of using AI to like help make the world better, we're just gonna use it to make more software. Yeah, it's so funny. Laugh my ass off. God, I hate Windows, dude. It's so bad. I'm still on it though, like I'm still on it. I would like to give Omarchi a try. I think actually what I want to do is I think I want to set up a VM with Omarchi and use that to code and build something on stream for like a week or a couple weeks, maybe a month. Find a project and just try to get used to working in this desktop environment. But I want to try it on a VM. I don't want to wipe my my Windows setup. I want to keep my Windows setup. Because every time I've looked at this, I always think, man, that looks cool. Same as my work computer. Nice. Yeah, the cognitive debt thing's a real thing. I always get to, anytime I try to use AI to write something, I get to this point in the project where the AI is failing at doing what I need it to do, and in order to get done what I want to do, I'm going to have to go through and read every bit of code to try to understand how everything works. At which point I'm left with two options: abandon the project and restart on my own and write it from scratch, which is 9 times what I do, or I have to do the heavy lifting of doing all the code reading and code review to figure the problem out. At which point I'm like, well, let me just write this myself. Yeah, that's I just end up fuck it. I'll just start over. That's where I find myself. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of engineers who are probably using it the most in production settings, I think the one thing I hear a lot of them say is like, do things in small bits, small changes, have the agent or have your like they're not real. I think most people who are using it every day are not like having their AI go out and implement an end-to-end feature. I mean, maybe small ones, but like I think in a lot of cases it's like using it to accomplish a very specific set of changes and then reviewing and understanding those changes and then repeating that, right? And making that inner dev loop much faster. Um, yeah, 100%. Yeah, AIs are verbose, so it exacerbates the cognitive debt. But these are not new issues, just issues that have grown exponentially. Yeah, it's the scale. It's this that goes back to the whole the citation. The problem with citations in academic papers, like issues in academic papers, have been a thing for a long time. Right now, it's the scale of being able to mass produce them at a rate that is kind of it's you can produce papers faster than the peer review process can handle it and find issues with it, right? That's kind of what exacerbates it. I consider myself a professional bullshitter. I always tell people, because I work in QA, I always tell people I'm a professional button clicker. I'm a professional button clicker. All right. I think this is going to be our last cycle. I can smell the AI bullshit when I read it. The number one dead giveaway for me with AI writing is there's a lot of excessive adjective usage, right? So like instead of saying something is small, the writing will say it was extremely small. Instead of saying he made a really good point, it'll say something like he made an extremely valuable point, right? There's all this like flowery adjective language in the sentences, and there's a lot of needless words, right? Like classic strunk and white, a lot of needless words, um, which I guess means that a lot of human beings write like that. I guess is what that means. The average human being uses way too many adjectives in their writing. But that's probably because so much of the writing that exists in the world today is people trying to hit word counts on papers or articles about things that they didn't really care to write about. It's like a shit ton of data of like papers that people were forced to write and hit word counts, and people blogs and articles that people were forced to publish to game SEO. Like there's a huge corpus of data that represents those two things. I have to review my team's PRs, which is AI generated code and AI generated PR description. Makes me just want to be a goat farmer or something. Yeah, I think there's people that feel like you, Bradley. I think there's people that feel like you. Oh, dude, your dad was an English professor? I bet he has some. I bet, Kale, I bet your dad has some feelings about AI. I would be interested to hear his take on it because he'd probably have an interesting take, especially if he worked on like in a commercial role for advertising stuff. I'll bet he has a very interesting perspective. Oh man, that's terrible. I bet he. I yeah. I bet. Yeah. I bet he feels a certain way about it. I'm sorry to hear that it impacted his work. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah. Yeah, that's the part of the clankers that just really sucks, right? It really does suck that's how we choose to leverage it is to replace human beings. Super cool technology, but I'm not super convinced I'm not super convinced that that's probably a positive in any way shape or form. One thing AI has done is made management so much more toxic. Look at Meta right now, openly toxic management. Well, I think it's just for management, it's so exciting because it's like, oh, can we automate white collar labor? Right? It's like we've been working for the last 3 decades to get rid of all the blue collar. Now we, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, another vector for efficiency gains. I work at SB. Oh, really? Do you really? That's crazy. Oh, that's cool. He made Cadbury's website. That's very cool. I would take free chocolate as payment. Offloading accountability from the people making bad decisions onto LLMs is not targeting the real issue. I mean, that's totally fair. I think, but I do think it's interesting that like the first thing we do with this, the first thing the business class does with a new tool is how can we squeeze more efficiency out of the out of the system. But I guess you wouldn't expect less, right? Minister of Defense, does your management force you to use AI? No, that had I luckily so far in my professional life, I've kind of escaped a lot of those pressures that I know a lot of people have. You know, hey, what's up, Atella Labs? You're in chapter 3 as well. Nice. Yes, I'm slowly making my way through the back end dev path. It's been fun. Yeah, I think I'm level 71 right now. My goal is to get to level 100. So I'm just doing as many courses as it takes me to get there. That's why immigrant labor is just a cornerstone in our manual labor market. Businesses always want the cheapest, most good enough labor. That is especially the good enough part, right? Is like, yeah, 100%. I'm 73, rank 3 on daily. That's awesome, dude. You're killing it. You're probably gonna beat me there. You're gonna beat me to probably to Archmage. I don't probably rank 3 on. I don't probably go up 3 levels daily. I talk too much. I talk too much. I'm supposed to have this Pomodoro timer to help me stay focused, but it's not. It's not working. Oh, hey Neil, what's up, man? Sorry, I didn't recognize your username. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by the stream. I had a thought. I had a thought about something about the management conversation that I wanted to mention. Dang, I forgot it. There was a piece of news I saw That was something related to large language. Oh, have you guys heard about that company? I think they're based in Italy. But they're like going around and they're buying up a bunch of kind of like a bunch of software companies that were sort of hit by SaaS apocalypse. They're like buying them up and consolidating them into like a private equity firm, and then they're replacing a lot of the technical staff with younger people using AI. I forget the name of the company. Software private equity. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's neat, but kind of interesting to see the way private equity is. I mean, I would expect nothing less, I guess, from private equity, right? What is the name of that company? I can't remember the name. It's been in the news lately. I think they're in Italy. Italy private equity software company. I don't know. If I think of it, I'll post it in Discord. I just thought it was kind of an interesting, another one of those interesting AI LLM related endeavors. Bending Spoons, that was it. I was like, gosh dang, I can't remember that name. Bending Spoons. Yeah, have you heard of that company? Bending Spoons. Apparently that's their strategy, is like they find these downtrodden companies like Vimeo, right? Vimeo, Evernote, right? Some of these like historically classic technology companies, but that have kind of found themselves on the outs now that we use AI. But they basically buy them up and then they replace all their expensive technology people with less expensive engineers, basically younger engineers in Europe primarily. So they don't, obviously, most engineers in Europe make far less than engineers in the US. And then they augment them with LLMs. It's like what they did with Hostess in the United States back in the day. You know, it's like you just classic private equity move. Buy the company for less than it's worth. Carve out as much expense as you can. Turn it around, sell it for more. Yeah, I used Evernote. Yeah, for sure I did. That will end badly. Private equity is so terrible. That's why I will bootstrap my own lab, focus on first principles. Yeah, they're bad, but they make money. I mean, it's like, I know doesn't have a lot of heart and soul in it, but a lot of people get rich doing it. Not enough return. Oh. Submit. DNS is a system that converts domain names to IP addresses. What does ICANN do? ICANN is a not-for-profit organization that manages DNS for the entire internet. I wonder if ICANN uses AI. Do they have, let's see what their job postings say. Careers at ICANN. Looks like they have pretty good benefits. Explore our open roles. Department. Okay, there's a senior software. Oh, that's a Salesforce person. Don't think I want to build an Apex every day. That sounds like a nightmare. But a lot of people make good money doing Salesforce work, you know? It's crazy, making 6 figures and stuff doing Salesforce work. Okay, here's a senior technical lead, engineering software engineering. What do their job descriptions look like? Let's see if there's AI in here anywhere. There's not. What about LLM? LLM. Nope. Well, there you go. Maybe you guys can go work at ICANN if you don't want to use AI. None of their job description has well, I guess that's positive. The people who are the backbone of the internet aren't vibe coding, or it doesn't seem like it. I mean, I granted, I know a job description probably isn't the most accurate reflection of what they do every day, but it's pretty funny. CRM developers always make bank. They're more business people than programmers. SAP consultants are the same. Yeah, I remember at Ajinomoto when I was working in that food scientist role. It wasn't SAP. We used JD Edwards was the which I don't know what JD Edwards is. That an Oracle company? I honestly don't know. I think they must be owned by Oracle. Yeah. But yeah, we had several projects where like they hired these consulting companies to come in and, you know, revamp or redo, upgrade our implementation. It used to be its own company. Interesting. I'll probably end up CRM programming, considering I've worked in operations and management for ages before I get a tech job eventually. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with CRM programming. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with it. I've seen Apex code before. That's why I say I don't think I'd want to work in Apex every day. But maybe you get used to it. You know, maybe that's just you. It's probably still interesting to solve problems, regardless of what you do it in, whether it's some obscure CRM specific language or a no code solution. You know, it is always interesting to solve problems for sure. You want me to do that? Is it really? It's weird to me that CRMs always have to be rebuilt. Like why do they always have to, like, why does it always require like a ground up huge lift, big project, right? Like why can't you iteratively build on a CRM? And why can't CRMs just be self-administered? Seems like that should be a problem that should be solvable enough that it's no code. Good morning, Gregor. Hello there. Just quickly stopping by. I need to rewrite my web program to Dart. Will be fun. Shirley, hey. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, Gregor. That's very kind of you. I don't know anything about Dart other than I had a colleague at work mention it to me. He was starting a little side project in it and thought it was a neat little language. But I've never used it myself. But I wish you all the best in rewriting. Let's see, a URL is a URI, but not all URIs are URLs. So all URLs are URIs. True. All URIs are URLs. False. Use these fields and methods of the URL struct: scheme, username, user password, hostname, port, path, raw query fragment. This method returns two values: the password if set and whether it was set. CRMs are highly proprietary. They are the shining example of vendor lock-in. They are expensive to move off of and require very precise data migration. Well, I just think that means I just think that means it's kind of that's more of like a business model thing than it is a software thing, right? Because I mean, you should be able to have a tool where you can self-administer and iterate on a CRM. You know, you should be able to run something like, you know, you should have some tool that has enterprise scale, but has the usability and flexibility of something like Notion. That it shouldn't require $1 million projects, right, to add a column to your CRM. Good morning, Toad Sage. How are you doing? What the dog doing? We are on, what course are we on? We're learning HTTP clients in Go is what we're doing. Yes, learn HTTP clients. We're on chapter 4, so about halfway through it. There's not many lessons in this course. And we are currently on level, what's my level? 71, I think. Oh, 74. Oh, so I did actually rank up 3 levels today. Nice. Yeah, so I'm on level 74. So we're approaching the final days on our road to Archmage. So it's going well. CRMs are sold to executives. Normal devs are rarely involved in the decision. I can believe that. I would think most SaaS tools these days are not sold to IT departments. I would figure most SaaS tools today are sold to the business owner, whoever in the company is going to basically use the tool. Okay, well, I'm level 17. That's okay. You're probably a busier man than I am. You know? Probably far busier, dude. Okay, it's 8:01 and I have 6, so this is probably I probably got 2 more lessons in me and then I have to wrap. You're on level 1? Totally valid. Totally valid. Okay. So you want me to do this. Parsed URL dot what? Scheme. Then username. And then this method returns 2 values, the password if set and whether it was set. So pass is set equals parsed URL dot user dot password. And so I guess if it is set, if is set, maybe something like that will work. And then this is going to be parsed URL dot hostname. Do a chapter 3. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think you should move at your own pace. I don't think it's definitely mission critical. There's nothing about boot.dev that's going to magically make your life better. For me, it's a fun way to do 2 things I enjoy: making content and streaming, and also programming and coding, and then talking to other people that also enjoy those things. I'm sure at some point I will work up the courage again to share, to program my own projects on stream, but I'm gonna let this AI summer cool down just a little bit more before I make that move. I can't decide if I'm gonna go back to just streaming personal projects like publicly, or if I'm gonna put it behind a paywall and just make it for members and subscribers only. I think I did everything right there. I'm not confident about the password part of it. It seems to have worked. Yes, nice. I wonder if that's even necessary. Could I just do, what happens if I did this? I wonder if it just returns an empty string. I honestly don't know what it returns. I bet the docs say. Returns password in case it is set, whether it is set. Well, I guess the default value for a string is empty, right? Anyway, so. The 8 pieces of our URL must always be present. That's false. HTTP / is a valid URL. So it has the protocol that's required, right? We have our, yep, host name. Yeah, true. This is false. We could make a Stephen Freeborn webpage for streaming to members, but that's effort. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I would like to make my own dedicated like, wouldn't that be cool to have I feel like that would be cool to have your own place, right, to stream to. I think that'd be really cool. I'm not sure what you would need from an infrastructure perspective, like how intensive that load is or that processing would be, but it would be cool. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, YouTube and Twitch both have support for just making your streams either subscriber only or members only. Yeah, FFmpeg, VPS. Doesn't Nginx support like a RTMP? Don't they have an RTMP module? I think they do. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, iframe and Nginx, something like that. I mean, it would be kind of redundant. It would be more for the experience of just learning how to do it than it would like the usability of it, because it's like there's no way I'd be able to do better than Twitch and YouTube do, but it would be kind of a cool thing to have. One thing I'd like to add is there's a guy I follow on Twitch. His name's Adam.dev. I think it's his, or is it what is it? Maybe it's Adam Dev. Yeah, that's it. So he has that. See that banner? It's a little buggy, but he has this interesting banner where whenever let me see if I can get it. Oh, it flashes so quick. But whenever he's live, he displays this banner up here on his website that he's live. I've always wanted to try to mimic that. And I think I can. I think I have all the pieces in place to do it. I just need to sit down and do it. There's lots of little projects like that I think would be fun to work on. I don't think he streams very much, but if you're looking for another good streamer, he's another good guy to follow online. He's also he's in my neck of the woods. I think he's in Springfield, Missouri. It's not very far from me. Oh, you have it on your glances page? That's cool. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that. It's very kind of you to keep coming back to my streams and hanging out. It's very kind. Okay, well, where did we end today? We ended 24, I think. Yeah, level 24. So that was a productive day. Yeah, not bad. And we didn't have any disconnects. That's probably the biggest win of the day. The stream never disconnected once. Let's take another peek at the Twitch inspector. Twitch inspect. 3.1 hours and no unstable events. Let's fucking go. That's awesome. Productive and no lag. W. W's in the chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I gotta do work stuff, and then I gotta mow at some point today. Gotta mow that grass, man. I tell you what. When are they gonna make AI fix that? Crazy. Crazy. You'd think they'd be able to Ask it. Oh, also, I'll just do a shameless plug. This is my, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I've got 2 shameless plugs, actually. So, where is it? First off, let me plug Kale's Pomodoro. Kale built this really cool Pomodoro timer. Here is at Kale, JK's Pomodoro's timer. It is very pretty, or very good looking. And then that inspired me to make my own version, which is what I was using on stream today. And you can find that at this address. And it just requires a simple shell script if you want to install it. You're more than welcome to. The Term Chat app is not available yet. Eventually, at some point, that will be available if you'd like to use it for your own streams. I just use it to connect to. Whoops! I just use it to connect to streams that I watch during the day. It's pretty useful. Okay. Well, does anybody have anything else? Well, I appreciate you trying it, Kale. No pressure though. Termato, yeah, you like that? It's very clever. Termato or Termato? Termator? I should have called it Termator. That would have been a better name. Termator. Hey, start your Termator, bro. You miss mowing? Ah, dude. I wish I could go back to apartment living. Our house is this house we rented. It's great because it's got more space and it's got a basement for tornado season, but the yard is too big. It's too much mowing and there's too much space to clean. But the grass is always greener, right? It's like when you live in the apartment, then you miss the stuff about living in a house, and then you live in a house, and you miss the stuff about living in an apartment. This is humanity. Humanity summed up. Yeah, first world problems indeed. All right, I'll try to get the text-to-speech stuff wired up tomorrow, and then we can have some fun with text-to-speech in the morning. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Caleb, I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. I hope you have a good Friday. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye. Bye, chat. Bye, everyone. Bye. See you guys.